with dirt, as you can see, stumps, rocks, you name it. Then we had to dig the basements, pour the concrete footings, blocks to raise the Butler buildings that we had to have. And then winter hit us in 1953, 54. It was necessary, however, that we had to pour concrete. So, yep, we built a shed over it, canvas, put heaters in it, and kept working. Lieutenants sometime argue a little bit. That was Captain Gomez, who had Company E of our battalion. Sergeant Snyder's the man on the right with his shirt still on. He was my master sergeant and the operations officer when I became major and was the operations officer for the battalion in finishing up this work. We're having to build a bridge now at Cormier Village, because the only good stream we had coming out of Noel's Pond. There is a couple of shots of the same in here that, well, you can't be perfect. That's the first one I showed you about blasting in Newfoundland, but there it is again. That was the 1954 shots we're trying to get started. We're putting a sub base here on the road before finishing it. Big culvert at Cold Duck Creek. And it even had to be worked in when it was snow and ice. We finally got it across the road, however. Again, they're going to argue. Lieutenant O'Keefe on the right, one of my best officers. Captain Gomez at another spot. Now we've got the Butler buildings so you can recognize them. And when they were finished, we had 39 of them. Now we're getting a shot of the base back in those days. And that's a fire drill that they were having in 1954 from where I'd put in. The base did not have housing facilities for all of its men, and I put in the base trailer, or not a base, but an off-base trailer park, the first on the west coast of Newfoundland, and operated while I was on active duty. Naturally, they had to have fire drills to keep us safely as we were going around with everything. If I can record on my camcorder the 8mm movies that I took in 1952, starting 53 and so forth in later years in the service. At the moment we're looking at the barracks. I was able to get transferred to the 347th Aviation Engineers in March of 1953 because of Captain Fulmer, their adjutant, and I had served in the 360th in World War II for the 3rd Army. We're now getting ready to load on train in Orlando Air Force Base at the station to go to New York to catch a boat to go to Ernest Harmon Air Force Base in Stephenville, Newfoundland. And this is the process of getting everything lined up. I was train master, as they called them in those days, responsible for all the supplies and etc. And of course I had my little dog Ola that used to help me do all the cattle raising back in Clay County, Alabama. We managed to make it then, unload at the dock, getting ourselves aboard a ship, or actually a tugboat to take us out to the ship. They even had a band to tell us goodbye, like we were going into a war. In some respects it was. A war with nature in Newfoundland. That's the harbor as we aboard our ship, leaving out, and it was full of other ships, of course. The boat captain. These are the BOQs at Ernest Harmon Air Force Base when we arrived there in June of 1953. There will be a lot of general shots that won't be necessary to have too much comments concerning, as it was fairly well laid out, well constructed, and very comfortable quarters. The base was surrounded on the south and east with hills. They called them mountains there, but they weren't really high. And to the west was St. George's Bay. And looking down toward the north, or up toward the north, was Piccadilly area and small sections and islands, Fox River, where a lot of good fishing went on. I'm up on top behind the hospital, looking down, taking a general shot of the BOQ area, now looking down toward the city itself, and back